Best ClockRadio is an app that turns your iPhone and iPad into the best streaming audio app available. I get emails all the time from users who tell me how much they love this app, and I really hope you will too. Best ClockRadio plays almost any podcast, radio station, and more. This powerful, easy-to-use app has 9 programmable buttons that can be programmed to almost anything you want, and radio buttons can be triggered by one of the 5 alarms. Best ClockRadio is a free app on the Apple App Store. In this video, we'll show you how to use the app and all its features. This video will focus on the iPhone interface. The iPad works exactly the same way with slight differences in the interface. Best ClockRadio works in portrait mode and in landscape mode, but it is important to note that all menus need to be accessed in portrait mode. First, the radio. It's as simple as pressing a button to play a podcast, radio station, or music playlist from your library. Press it again to stop the radio. To change the volume, all you have to do is swipe up or down here on the edge. To program a radio station to a button, simply press and hold the button you wish to program to bring up the radio source menu. From here, you can choose from podcasts, U.S. radio, these are major radio stations in the U.S., and world. These are radio stations outside the U.S. and categorized by country. We are always updating this list of stations with radio stations requested by users. If you can't find a specific station you are looking for, you can use the contact link on the top left corner to contact support, and we will send you a URL. You can paste that URL into the URL section here and save it to a radio button. And then the Shoutcast listings are internet radio stations with hundreds of categories to choose from and thousands of stations. So let's program a podcast to a radio button. Press and hold the radio button you wish to program. Select the podcast button. There is a short default list here, but to search, use the search bar at the top. For instance, I can search for Joe Rogan. Then I select the desired podcast from the list. Once it has been selected, there is a play order option. Newest first will play all podcasts from newest to oldest. With oldest first, you can choose how far back you want to start, and it will start from that podcast and work its way up to the newest. All this can be changed in more detail once the podcast is saved to a radio button. I can change the name here in the name field. This is the text that will be displayed on the radio button, so I have to make it short so it fits on the radio button. I press save, and the podcast is stored to the radio button. It's as easy as that. Now I press the button to play it. While it is playing, I have controls to jump forward or back here. I can stop it from playing by pressing the radio button again. So if I want to come back and listen to the rest of this podcast later, I press the radio button again, and it will continue from where I left off. So once an episode ends, it will continue playing the next episode automatically until it runs out of episodes. It's really convenient to listen to your favorite podcasts. You don't have to dig through menus to access each episode. Now, if I want to program a radio station to another button, I do the same thing. I press and hold the radio button I want to program the radio station to. Select U.S. radio stations and find my city, or I can do a search with the search bar at the top. I'm going to go to my city, Los Angeles, and choose KFI.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the
I use the name field again to name the button and press save. The station is now saved to a second radio button. Again, I just press the button to play the radio station and press it again to stop it. So I can jump back and forth between radio and podcasts by just touching the corresponding button. If I want to change the volume, all you have to do is swipe up on the edge to raise and lower the volume. It's easy for one-handed volume change or when it's sitting at your bedside. When a podcast is saved to a radio button, there are little ticks on the radio button. These represent episodes, so if there are 5 or more episodes available, 5 ticks are shown on the button. If there are no ticks, there are no podcast episodes available. This is an easy way to quickly know if there are new podcasts available for playing or if you've listened to all available podcasts. I can play it, stop it, continue where I left off. I can skip ahead 30 seconds or back 15 seconds and jump to the next episode or the previous episode. For the radio stations I've saved to this button, there are no skip ahead or back buttons because this is streaming live. Those controls are only available for the podcast. So if I play the podcast, I get the controls again. If I want to access individual episodes for this podcast, I touch the info bar here on the bottom while the podcast is playing. This brings up the episode list. It is important to note that you have to do this while the podcast is playing. These are all available episodes for the podcast, listed from newest at the top to oldest at the bottom. Here I can change the play order. I can select the episode I want to listen to right now, and it's highlighted by a white line. I can mark them played or unplayed by touching the green dots on the right. There's also a progress bar at the bottom of each episode showing how much has been played. So when I play this podcast, only the episodes with the green dots will play, and they will play in the order selected above. I can also mark all played or all unplayed here. So now let's say I've heard all these podcasts but the latest one. I select Mark All Played, and then I select the top one and mark it as unplayed by touching the check mark and changing it to a green dot. Now I touch Save, and I see the button has only one tick representing the one unplayed episode. When a new episode is released, it will show up here as a second tick on the radio button. Now let's set the alarm to wake up to the podcast and radio stations we just programmed. Just swipe the radio buttons to the left to bring up the alarm box. This is one of 5 alarm boxes. To set the alarm time, simply touch the time in the alarm box. This is in 12-hour mode. This will change if you have your clock set to 24-hour mode. But in 12-hour mode, you select the time, the hours are on the left here, then the minutes, and you can select the days of the week you don't want the alarm to sound. These are all on by default, so touching them makes them inactive. So I just set this alarm for 2:56 for Monday through Friday, and it will not sound on Saturday and Sunday. Selecting AM/PM saves the alarm and activates it. You can now see it's on here. If I touch the alarm on button, it will change to off. So I'll touch it again to turn it back on, and I'll choose the alarm sound by touching the alarm sound button here. And now we are presented with the alarm sound menu. The top 6 radio buttons correspond directly with the top 6 buttons on the main radio screen. If you change one of these buttons, it also changes here in the alarm sound menu. The included alarms are listed here on the left, and music stored on my device is here on the right. So let's set the Joe Rogan podcast as the first alarm. First, touch the button. I can set the volume for the alarm here. So even if your device is set to very low or very high, the alarm will sound at the volume you set here. The little icon on top of this slider does something very specific with Bluetooth speakers or Bluetooth headphones. By default, the alarm will not play out a Bluetooth device. If you touch this icon here, you can change that so the alarm does play out a Bluetooth speaker if a Bluetooth speaker is attached. And at the bottom, we have a choice for fading in the alarm. You can have no fade in, a 20-second fade in, or a very slow 8-minute fade in. So now that the alarm sound is set, we hit save, and when it is time for the alarm to trigger, the podcast will play and fade up to the volume we have set in the alarm sound menu.
There's so many things to talk about. Is there? Anything happened?
Just hit snooze or off to stop the
I
alarm.
got shot. Yeah, some guy. And
So this app has 5 alarms. To change the alarm, you swipe to the left inside the alarm box. If you swipe above the alarm box, you can switch back to the radio buttons. The dots here represent what alarm you're on. So if I'm on alarm 2, the second dot will be solid. If the alarm is on, it will have a highlighted ring around the dot, so you can easily identify what alarms are on and what alarms are off. We are viewing alarm 2 because the second dot is solid. Alarm 1 is on because it has a highlighted ring around the dot. Now let's set alarm 2 to trigger the radio station we programmed to the radio button. Now I'm on alarm 2 and I set the alarm by touching the alarm time in the alarm box here. Now again we select the time and then the days of the week, select AM or PM to close the alarm. Then we set the alarm sound. We press the alarm sound button on the alarm box to open the alarm sound window. Then we choose the alarm sound. We choose the radio button we programmed earlier and set the volume that we want the alarm to play at. Press save and the second alarm is set. So now we have 2 alarms. The second alarm is set to trigger the radio. The days of the week the alarm will sound is represented here. Press here to turn the alarm off. It is important to mention that the app needs to be running on screen to play the radio station or podcast as an alarm. This is because Apple restricts what apps can do in the background. So if you close the app and put your device to sleep by pressing the power button, the app will play a default alarm sound. If you have your device muted and closed, then the app will not be able to make any sound at all. So we highly recommend that you keep this app open and on screen to use the alarm. If the screen is too bright, there is an AutoDim feature, which we'll cover later, or you can simply place the device face down. I've had some customers ask about screen burn-in, worrying if they leave the app on screen all night, it will cause the screen to burn in. I've been running this app for 6 years on one iPad and about 4 years on another iPhone, and I have absolutely no burn-in. So with these devices, there are no issues with burn-in. Now the weather. The weather is available if you unlock the app using the in-app purchase and shows the current weather and a 5-day forecast. Swipe to get the forecast, swipe again 2 more times to get the contact link. If you have any comments, questions, feature requests, or want to request a radio station, this is how you contact us. So now let's look at the settings. Access the settings menu by touching the gear on the top left. In this menu, this is where you can set the location for the weather, choose Celsius or Fahrenheit, and the snooze time. This is how long the alarm will sound again after you press the snooze button. The 24-hour clock option is here, and this is auto sleep. Auto sleep is a function that will turn the radio off after a set time. So if you want to listen to the radio at night and you fall asleep, the radio will turn off automatically. You turn this on and set the time when you would usually go to bed and how long you want to play the radio before it will turn off. You can set this to 10 p.m., set 40 minutes here. Now if I play the radio after 10 p.m., it will turn off in 40 minutes. If I play the radio at 12 a.m., it will also turn off in 40 minutes. So this is a 6-hour window. With these settings, if I play the radio between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., the radio will turn off in 40 minutes. If I played the radio outside that window, like at 8 a.m., the radio will not turn off. So this is a sleep function designed to work without you even thinking about it. You just play the radio when you want to play it. If you're playing it before you go to bed, you don't have to worry about it. The radio will turn off automatically. It's meant to make things as easy as possible for you. And here we have alarm automatic off. This will turn the alarm off automatically after it's been triggered. So if you get up in the morning and you want to continue listening to the radio while you get ready for work or school or wherever you're going, you can leave your device playing, leave the house, and not worry that it's going to play all day. It will automatically turn off after the time set here. This next section is AutoDim. This is the setting that dims the screen automatically at your set time. So with these settings, the screen will darken at 10 p.m. and it will brighten again at 8 a.m. But there's a little more to it than that. When this app is in dark mode and you interact with your device, the device will brighten up if you touch the screen or you move the device. So you can see what you're doing, interacting with your phone, checking your emails. But as soon as you open Best Clock Radio back up, it goes back to dark mode. And then, of course, save and cancel at the bottom, and a link to our demo video that you are watching right now. And then this icon on the top right is an AirPlay option. This allows you to play the radio through external speakers like a smart speaker, stereo system, or an Apple TV. And also a few things that weren't covered earlier regarding the radio buttons. Not only can you program a radio station or a podcast to a radio button, but there are other options to program music from your device's library to a radio button as well. You can program a playlist, an artist, a song, or all songs on your device to a radio button with a shuffle option up here. And there's also a soothing sounds section. These are soothing sounds to help you meditate, sleep, relax, like rain, wind, and other tones. Some guitar, piano, very nice relaxing sounds in here. And to use your app by the bedside, you'll want a stand that charges your device. For iPhones capable of inductive charging, there are many great options that hold your iPhone up and make it easy to access at your bedside. Put it on a charger and it converts your device into the best clock radio you can get. And the app also works very nicely in a car. If you're in an area that gets bad reception, streaming radio is a great alternative. Lastly, we love getting feedback from our users. We have thousands of users who email us telling us all the time how much they love the app, telling us it's their favorite app. It just makes all this worthwhile. I hope you will enjoy this app as well. And with 5 alarms, we believe this is literally the best clock radio available anywhere. You can go to our website to ask questions, get links to videos at beautifulclockradio.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.